so we can follow along. The rest of the materials are from a different committee, so please focus on page 4 at this time.
Thank you. We got word that there was no audio to the audience in virtual, and so we were just trying to make sure everybody can hear. So, all right. So yes, this was reviewed in SCOCO this morning, and we wanted to share this with Basque. And so it is on page 4 of the SCOCO agenda. I've split the SCOCO agenda into each of the region's piles of agendas, but the rest of you hopefully were able to attend SCOCO. So this is going to be review for you. So we've broken the report up into 5 20-point projects, which you're well aware of. So this translates nicely into percentage of funding, right? Because each project is worth 20 points. We'll just start at the top left corner, and this is the first project, the commitment, institution's commitment to implementing math pathways. So there's a total of 20 points possible. That's broken up into 2 components. The first is providing information on the process and timing required on campus to create and approve the Gateway math courses for math pathways into degree programs during AY 25. So the plan, 10 points are possible there. And then the list of group members who will lead the work on campus, 10 points possible there. So if you'll go across the table to the right, you'll see if the institution provides the information, they should get the full number of points, right? If there is something missing, then that would drop down to half the points possible. And if the institution doesn't provide any information, that would be no points. So that's kind of the pattern this follows. The next project down would be the detail committing to implementing co-requisite math support developmental education, 20 points possible for that. 10 points for the process and timing required on campus to create and approve co-rec math support dev ed, and 10 points possible for the list of folks involved on campus. So again, if anything's missing, they would drop down to half credit. If they provide all of the information, they should get the full amount of credit. The next project down, the commitment to implementing co-requisite English support, same exact breakdown. We've got the plan worth 10 points and the list of people worth 10 points. We go on to the next page. The commitment to the KBOR sponsored professional development, 20 points possible there. This one's a little more detailed. It starts with 10 points for the list of individuals who are going to participate in 3 pieces of professional development. That first piece, A, is the English and math co-requisite support dev ed, which would include math and English faculty, advisors, and IR staff, institutional research staff. That second piece is for math pathways. That would include faculty and advisors. And the third would be for the course placement measures for the Gateway and co-rec math and English courses. That should include math and English faculty, advisors, institutional research staff, and testing center personnel, all worth 10 points total. The other 10-point component is the plan to ensure that those who are unable to attend the professional development would still receive the information. So that's including all 3 pieces of the professional development mentioned above. So again, full participation, full points, partial would take them down to half points awarded for that component. And then finally, the link to the academic degree maps, that's worth 20 points. It would need to have a single landing page and include a link to each degree map for each undergrad program. And so if it's incomplete, then the idea is to award half the number of points. So we wanted to run that by Basque, obviously. We would need you guys to okay or suggest changes to that. I do want to mention, sorry, this morning it was suggested that on that first page, we asked them to include the names, the titles, and the email addresses of those involved. And they asked if we could maybe not include the email addresses. They would prefer those folks not be contacted directly by us. They want to be able to liaise between their campus folks and us. So we thought that was reasonable, but that is up to you all.
Was that the only suggested improvement then, Sam?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for putting this together. This is in keeping with conversation provost with you all, that not to have any surprises and know exactly what the process is. Board, the change of removing email, see any problem with that requested modification? No, seeing none, then Sam, we can move forward with that, please.
Right.
Anything else? Board, I know this is just before you, but it reflects what we've already discussed in our process. Anything else that you see that we might want to adjust? Provost, an opportunity for you. Anything else that's come up other than the removal of the email that would be helpful to you? Seeing none, I think we're ready to go. Does it help you, Sam, if we have a motion to approve the rubric?
Yes.
All right, I'll accept a motion. So. Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, there you go. Look forward to that. Thank you for that clarity. The bulk of today's meeting is really to get us prepared for our program review report and expectations. I just wanted to set the stage of a reminder, really more for those who may be listening in and are not as familiar with the process that we're about to undertake. We are engaging in a new program review process to strengthen our implementation of our Build a Future plan. And in that plan, as you know, we have 3 pillars: helping families, supporting business, and advancing economic prosperity for all Kansans. And in doing that, it is our obligation as system leaders and as the board to make sure our portfolio programs is in demand by students, that students are completing those degrees, that for as much as we can, we maximize retaining the talent within Kansas and particularly within the region, and that our program offerings are a sound investment for students. We all hear the conversation on the national level about the decreased value of higher ed. And I think that we can speak in opposite direction of that because we are examining how our programs truly are helping families move forward and that the degrees that they're earning have great value. So as you all know, you've been undertaking your campus review processes. Your reports on the 31 or 32 programs that we identified as not meeting the 4 criteria are due on Friday. And so our next 2 academic affairs committee meetings will be fully devoted to reviewing your recommendations to either create an action plan, to merge programs, or potentially to phase out. And so I just want to thank you up front. I know this is heavy lifting. I know there are a lot of stakeholders involved, and we need to be sensitive to the fact that while we're talking programs, we're also talking about people's jobs and lives, and we're talking about our students and what we're doing for them. And that should be at the forefront of all of our decisions. So because this topic is one of such great gravity, I am recommending that we hold our April 30th meeting in person in Topeka. We will have 3 of the universities presenting on the 30th, and then the next 3 will present at our regular meeting on May the 15th. We want to make sure we offer plenty of time and opportunity for dialogue. So Provost, I'd ask that you ensure that either yourself or a member of your team that is a decision maker can be in the room with the board. We'll have 3 of the 4 board members present. Regent Mendoza will be joining us virtually, but we want to have a face-to-face conversation about the information you're presenting. So let me share that on April 30th, my thought is that we would start with Pitt State University. We would have KU and K-State sharing on the 30th. On the 15th, the order will be Emporia State University, Wichita State University, and then Fort Hays State University. So let me know if there's any conflict with you. In terms of time, this process is new, so we don't want to rush. You can plan on at least 45 minutes of presentation and discussion. If we need more than that, we'll create that opportunity for you. If you need less, great. So be thinking about that moving forward.
Just I'm trying to understand how long should we think we just.
Well, we're scheduled to start at 9 regular time. I think you might be wise to plan. We have 45 minutes till 11:30 in your schedules, if that will allow.
I'll do whatever you need, Madam Chair. I just want everything. So.
I appreciate that reason. We may not need all that time, but for safety's sake, in terms of planning. Any questions on the actual schedule, Provost? Yes. Okay. Provost Bicklemeyer.
I just want to check and make sure, the 30th, also you want to have in Topeka as well, face to face. Okay,
The 30th is generally our virtual meeting. We're moving that to a face-to-face, in-person meeting.
and can you confirm the time?
Yes, I'm looking at Sam, 9 to 11:39. We'll start with state. If you think you're gonna need more than 45 minutes, you can bargain with each other. But
Effectively, we do
Well,
it in a virtual meeting to in person.
I appreciate everybody's consideration of that. I have some other things I'd like for you to be thinking about as you prepare for the presentations, but prior to those comments, I want to ask Sam to kind of walk us through the process, just to remind what, so there's no surprises about what you will expect.
You bet. And Regent Lane, I have a question about the April 30 meeting. There is a program that would normally come forth to you all for your review on that schedule, but we can push that back, I believe. I've talked to the institution, so. Okay,
I think that would be helpful. If we could devote the next two meetings as much as possible. And if there are other things that need to be done in May, we'll certainly try to accommodate that. The May meeting will start at our regular 10:30 time rather than 11, May 15th.
all right. So if everybody would look at page 5 on the agenda, I'm just going to go right down to number 3. And that is the requirements for the report. So basically, for each program that each institution is reviewing, the expectation is that there will be a recommendation that program either be phased out, merged, or placed on an action plan. And the additional information, there is some additional information there, but I think it's easiest if we just look directly at the reporting template. There's a sample on page 11. So this provides a little bit more. So for any program that is recommended for phase out, the institution would provide a phase out plan, including detail on how the institution will reinvest resources from that phased out program into other programs. If the program is recommended for merge, the institution would provide a merge plan, including detail on immediate cost savings, and include how the plan will impact your FTE for merged programs. And if the program is recommended for an action plan, that action plan should indicate how the institution will improve metrics on student demand, degree production, the talent pipeline, or the return on investment, wherever that program did not meet the criteria. So that really completes what is being asked for. I believe there was a little bit added. Sorry, I kind of skipped that. So if you look at page 10, that is where the institution has the opportunity to provide the campus program review process and include any programs that have been merged, phased out, or put on action plan outside of those specifically listed for review this year.
Thank you very much, Sam. On page 10, you'll notice, Provost, in my opportunity to learn from each of you over the past weeks about your on-campus process, I thought it would strengthen our understanding of what we actually do to review programs. If you had a chance to highlight your campus processes, and the other board members had a chance to be aware of that. So we will lead off in your presentations with that understanding. Now, our conversations that we had were quite detailed. And so I would ask you not to be as detailed, but if there is information up front that you want the other board members to have, please send that so we can prepare for the conversation. Be thinking about your campus process, not just over the last 12 months, but over the last 18 months, because I have learned that you each have a very rigorous review that you undertake, and we need to understand and recognize that you already are phasing out, merging, and action planning programs. So we'll start with that. As Sam mentioned, be thinking about how you'll share with us the fiscal impact of those decisions. What efficiencies have you gained? What reductions have you had in expenditures? How have you reinvested those reductions in your other programs? And any other intended outcomes that you've had for your on-campus process. I think that would be very helpful. Let me pause there before I ask you to think of some other things that I anticipate will come up in the conversation, just to ask board members, are there other things in relation to the campus processes or this outline that you'd like to bring up? And then we'll open it to Provost for questions and discussion. Seeing none. Okay, Provost, based on what you've heard so far, what questions do you have? What ideas might you offer to strengthen our upcoming reviews? All right, Provost Bicklemeyer, thank you.
I'm looking what we've been planning, and I think the only thing I might, ask or point out that we'd like to share with you to give context is a bit about how our program review fits with our strategic plan, which nests under your strategic plan. So I'm not sure if when you talk about wanting us to give you an overview of how our academic program review works, if it's simply the process, but if we could also put a little context in there for you.
Context would be very helpful to see how this fits in the big picture, that this is not just something that sits along the side of what you do every day, but it's actually a vital part. So thank you for that clarity. Some other things I've been thinking a lot about, and you won't be surprised by these items, is the credit hour production. So if part of the rationale for an action that you're recommending involves the credit hour production, please be prepared to talk about that and how maintaining a high credit production program also can be balanced with efficiencies. So I don't have more to add than that. We've discussed the credit hour production courses. We know they're important. How do we think about them in the frame of our program offerings? And then program versus course rationale. If we have high credit production courses, do we also have to have a full program? If so, what's the rationale for that? Can we offer a minor if we don't have a major? So help us think through how that fits. And then one that goes beyond this process, we've talked about productive duplication, that there are programs that it is productive and wise for our system of universities to have that may be similar. My learning is that even though the name of the program might be the same, your focus may be slightly different. And so if that surfaces, please be prepared to talk with us about that. And so we can get better in understanding what's the right amount of duplication that we should have across our system. Now, those are some things that are on my mind. I want to open the floor to anyone who has other items that you want to advance or things that we should be thinking about as we prepare. Yes, thank you, Provost Answer. That was for, yeah.
Test. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about what will happen at those meetings in terms of Basque's action? And then between that and the June meeting, what do you anticipate being the next steps?
That's a great question. And I'd like some insight from members about what your preference is. We could act or respond to each presentation at the time, or we could wait and hear all and then make our recommendations that will go before the full board in June at a later meeting. What's helpful, board, as you process through all of this?
Go first, I guess. Then everybody can do what Carl meant to say. Well, I mean, I think it's a little hard to anticipate without knowing what we're going to see. So it's one of those things that's, I think, hard to respond in the abstract. Having said that, I think I'd rather get through both meetings before we took action. If we wind up thinking we need to take action, as opposed to doing it piecemeal, there's bound to be, I would hope, discussion that comes up that makes us have more things we want to learn and so forth. Speaking just for myself, I don't necessarily have a personal desire to weigh in on given decisions. I'd be thrilled if we could nod wisely and say what you all suggested is perfect. So it's really a function of what we see. At the same time, I think, you know, we've been clear throughout that we think a healthy process matches your reviews. So that seems to be happening, but that also those yield results over time, because there's no way over a long period of time, things don't need to change. I mean, it's so we'd want to see some of those things happen, I think.
Thank you, Regent Ice.
Sherilyn,
Yes,
I agree with Regent Ice about it might be wise to wait till we hear all of them to act. One of the things that I might suggest if we do that as well is that each institution be allowed to add an addendum. I would like to tell you that we think through everything and every possibility, but I might hear from one of my colleagues a strength or an action that would also benefit us. And I'd like to be able to capture it. So if that would be also a possibility at the end that we might say, well, I heard that at Fort Hays, they're doing this. I think that also might benefit our program as well.
good suggestion. Anything else, Regent? Regent Mendoza?
Oh, okay. I would agree with both Regent Ice and Provost Smith and the different reasons that they stated for going through both meetings and reviewing all of the program review processes first. But specifically to the point of duplicate programs, it's going to be important to hear that from every university as they highlight why it's essential to keep those. So.
Excellent point. All right, I've pulled out our calendar of meetings, and we do have a meeting on June the 4th. So we could put on that agenda further discussion and action at that time by the board. So we'll hear everybody. We'll offer the opportunity on the 4th for any addendums that you might want to offer. And then that'll be our meeting to make recommendations that will go to the full board. Now, I'm sure things are going to come up as we go through this. This is our first process. We are committed to doing this in a collaborative way. So as we move forward, I ask your tolerance if we have to make any slight adjustments so we can make this process the first year the best that it can be as we learn together. Okay, any other comments, questions, suggestions? Dr. Monholland, any insight from you as you're entering our system?
Well, 5 weeks into the job, I'm still trying to kind of gather everything in. I think everything that's been suggested does make sense, especially with a new process. I think you choose a path and you start down that, but you need to assess how it's working and is it working in the way we intend. And if it's not, then we need to be flexible enough to adjust it accordingly to achieve the results we're looking for. I think the other thing that's important, at least from my perspective, is to have a very clear understanding of the purpose behind the program review, why are we doing it. If it's just to eliminate programs for the sake of eliminating programs, that's probably not a very noble approach. But if it's to make the institutions more lean, more efficient, producing the kind of degrees and credentials that our state, our economy and the business and industry is looking for, then I think that makes a lot of sense as well. So having a clear sense of the purpose behind why we do this, I think is very important.
Thank you for articulating that. I, for one, would say yes, that the purpose is not just for efficiencies, but ensuring that the product we're offering our students and our state has a strong return on investment. So remind me that we need to say that often as we go through these next stages of our process. All right, anything else on program review? We are being very efficient today with our time. So with that, I think we're ready now to move to your update.
Thank you, Regent Lane. You probably all noticed that there are no action or discussion items on the academic affairs agenda today. And I've been told that this is like the first time it's ever happened. And so I told Blake you should have hired me a long time ago. Keep things moving more effectively, but I think it's just probably a coincidence more than anything. I'd like to provide a quick update on our math pathways work. We've made a tremendous progress on that initiative over the last several months and even in the short time I've been there. We've convened several of the discipline groups and they were charged with identifying the gateway mathematics course that's appropriate for their degree. And a number of disciplines have done that. Sam and I talked previously, and that's something we're preparing to get posted to our website so we can share that more broadly. The other piece of the pathways work has to do with placement into mathematics, into credit-bearing mathematics course. And what are the criteria we will use on a statewide basis to determine that a student can begin taking the credit-bearing, non-co-requisite course without the supports. We've had a lot of discussion about which metrics to use: high school GPA, high school math courses, ACT, SAT, and so forth. And I think we're more or less in agreement on kind of the universe of metrics available. The difficulty is deciding then where is the cut score, kind of that threshold beyond which students, do not have to have the additional support, and below which they would have to take that. In a perfect how it would work is if you are above it, you go into the credit bearing course with no further consideration. If you're below it, and depending on where that is, we would need to look at other measures, multiple measures to determine the appropriate placement. And that's really key, and I think very important, because effectively what we're doing is defining college readiness for those mathematics courses. And we need to be consistent across all institutions, the entire system within higher education. We also made an important, what I believe is a really crucial change to the Math Pathways Task Force. Since it began, it's kind of been shepherded by KBOR staff, who have done a fantastic job. But we've reached out to Dr. Keith Dryland, who's the chair of the mathematics department here at Fort Hays State, and Whitney Turner, who's an associate professor of mathematics at Johnson County Community College, and asked them if they would co-chair the task force on our behalf. And they both graciously agreed to do that. They will lead now, convene and lead the meetings of the task force, the math course placement group, the discipline groups, but also help KBOR staff with strategic planning for these projects. KBOR staff will continue to provide administrative support and help facilitate the meetings themselves. We think this is an important shift for a couple of reasons. One, Keith and Whitney are both math faculty. They understand mathematics to an extent that certainly that I do not understand. I understand the big kind of big picture issues, but they really understand the down in the weeds issues. Moreover, they are faculty, they are peers to the people that are working for, and I think their knowledge, their expertise is just a better fit to convene and facilitate the meetings, the conversations themselves. So I think that subject matter expertise and the credibility they bring to the work will be very important moving forward. Within academic affairs itself, I'll just mention a few things. Over the next 3 Thursdays, beginning tomorrow, we'll host what we're calling FAFSA Lunch and Learn for educators. There will be a number of topics covered in these online webinars, such as the types of financial aid students could have available, overview of eligibility for different kinds of financial aid, the typical timeline for the FAFSA and completing it, in addition to the entire scholarship process, and the importance of completing the FAFSA for all students. No doubt you've all been reading the news about the FAFSA snafu, both of which are acronyms, by the way. It's going to be incumbent upon us, I think, to really reach out and try to engage with students to help reassure them of the process, help reassure them of the importance of completing the FAFSA so they can be eligible for financial aid. This is Misty Knox is heading up this work, and she's doing a great job with it. I look forward to seeing how they turn out. I want to introduce the newest member of academic affairs staff, which puts me now as a seasoned veteran. Jennifer Bonds-Racky joined us on Monday. Jennifer comes to us. She was most recently president of St. Martin's University in Lacey, Washington. She served elsewhere at the provost at St. Norbert's, I believe it is, in Wisconsin. She also spent 10 years here at Fort Hays State University. She has a graduate degrees, PhD in MA from Kansas State University in experimental psychology, excuse me. So we're so pleased to have Jennifer on hand, not just because she's another person to help burden the load, but because she brings so much experience and expertise to the work. I also want to report Carla Wiscombe had surgery a couple of weeks ago. She's recuperating very well. She got her cast off yesterday and has assured me she'll be doing backflips very soon. And I think that's it. We are almost a full team now.
Excellent.
As soon as we can get Misty full-time with us, we will be whole. And I, for one, am very excited about that, and I think everyone else is too. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but that's my update.
Questions, board? Comments?
Welcome.
Really glad you're here. Thank you for the update on Math Pathways. Exciting work and wise move to identify the co-chairs. We're really grateful for that process. And Misty, thank you for your work on FAFSA. We know how urgent that is right now. So appreciate you engaging and helping move that forward. All right, we'll start now with good news from our campuses, and we're going to start with our host, Fort Hays. How many do you have? Okay. How about 3 for the host at least?
All right, thank you for this opportunity to share good news about what's going on at our respective universities. If you've spent a little time outside today, you may have noticed maybe you haven't noticed, but there are extra people on campus besides the regents and regent staff. We have about, I think it's almost 1,000 high school students here from over 60 high schools in Colorado and Kansas participating in the 49th annual Art Day. So at the end of the day, you may want to walk around in the quad and see the art that they're producing on the sidewalks. It's remarkable. They have juried shows out at the Gross Memorial Coliseum today, and it's a great event for high school students in the area, but also certainly a great recruitment event for our art and design programs at Fort Hays State University. So those are hopefully future Tigers walking around outside and participating on a beautiful day here. last weekend, our theater program, along with many students across the campus that are not theater students, not produced. Can't think of the word. They were in Pirates of Penzance. That was the production last weekend at Fort Hays State University. And what was extra special about that, with a large cast, we had even some Hays High and Russell High School students participate in that. And we had two longtime professors in music and theater that be their last show that they were connected with. So Tommy Williams, our theater professor, is retiring at the end of the year. And one of our vocal professors, Ivala Allen, is retiring at the end of this year. And so both of them were able to be in a really special production with our students and produce that and direct that last week. And it was phenomenal. Lastly, I'll share a kind of a neat moment that I had this week with our Tiger Leaders group. That's a group of typically young professionals, either faculty or staff, amongst all the divisions at Fort Hays State University that have an opportunity to participate in about a 9-month leadership development training and development opportunity with Fort Hays State University faculty members as the lead. And this was our 13th year of Tiger Leaders. And what was particularly special this last week is they presented ideas about how to infuse some new strategies into our strategic plan that we're entering into in August. And so it was really neat to see that their learning about the university is coming full circle, and now they're impacting the strategic plan in a unique way, which is a neat moment for me to see as provost. So those are my 3 items. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much. We'll go now to Provost Thomas, who's online with us. Good morning.
You bet. Good morning. I'll just reiterate a few things from our School of Science and Mathematics. And maybe I'm cheating a little bit, but I'll do them in bulk as one. I got a message from one of our faculty in the School of Science and Mathematics that was just a compendium of the collection of great things that have been accomplished literally over the last few weeks in the school. Over the last few weeks in that school, they've had 16 presentations at 3 different conferences from students that resulted in 6 awards at those conferences for the student presentation. They've received good news on 5 new grants that have been externally funded, 1 publication in a peer-reviewed journal, a total of 19 outreach events involving faculty and staff in biology, math, and physical sciences that had over 574 attendees total. And we hosted the Kansas Academy of Sciences meeting on our campus, which was well attended and a wonderful event. So I just want to congratulate our folks in the School of Science and Mathematics on what has been an incredibly active and successful last couple of weeks. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much. Provost Lefevre.
Well, I would thank you for the opportunity to talk about some good things on Wichita State. I just wanted to pass this out only because I had it. It's an agenda for a conference that we are hosting on our campus yesterday and today with the Bureau of Justice and Administration. We had nearly 100 individuals on our campus yesterday and today, really learning about our approach to applied research and applied learning and our innovation campus. But mostly it's their national convening, looking at how they need to be developing talent in the criminal justice system. And so they were very intrigued at how we're doing our applied learning approach at Wichita State. So it's been a really enriching conversation for us to have with them. I'll also just share that we are on track to open our Student Success Center very soon. That's shaping up really nicely. We actually have a tour tomorrow to look at the final touches in that space. We're really looking forward to that. And of course, we have our biomed that will be breaking ground on May 8th. So lots of fun stuff happening on our campus.
Thank you very much. It looks like we are at Provost Mercer.
Kind of paid to be how you're doing. It's just a good point guard, right?
That's it. I'm trying out for Don Staley's team. Do you think I'll make it?
I think you could.
Good morning. This last week, we kicked off a $200 million plus Ag Innovation Initiative, fittingly with Call Hall Ice Cream at the corner of Weber Arena that has experienced its last rodeo. So we'll build it's kind of sad, right? A much larger rodeo, a much larger arena. So that kicked off with demo with the dean, and Dean Ernie Mitten was there handing out ice cream to students as they walked by. So that is very exciting on our campus, creating a great deal of buzz. And where Weber Arena will be our global center for grain and food innovation. And so while that benefits the College of Agriculture, we've been very strategic that 30% of that building space will be interdisciplinary space. And so we're building it with that in mind. So that will be a game changer on our campus. I'll continue the ag theme and let you know that our meat animal evaluation team are the national champs again. 4 years in a row, 7 years out of the last 8, they have served as national champions. We had 6 students individually rank in the top 10, but even more impressive, we had 5 in the top 5. So very, very proud of our animal science program and our students. And then I'll end with, we had the privilege to have Carl and Mary Ice on our campus as leaders in residence. Many of you know Mike Holan. This is named as part of his legacy and invites people with hearts for service and strong leadership skills to be on campus and interact with our students. And so that's a wonderful program, and we look forward to continuing that celebration and that impact.
Just a real quick question, Provost Mercer, did you have a chance to ride your horse around the arena one last time?
So many of you know we're into barrel racing, and Weber Arena was not a conducive place to barrel racing, but the new arena will be. So no last round, no last round.
Okay, thank you very much. Provost Winkelmeyer.
Thank you very much. And I will miss Call Hall Ice Cream. The person who visited Manhattan a fair amount. Okay, good. Okay, good. So that was good. That was gonna worry me. Needing my ice cream. And as someone who's had K-State's meat animal evaluation team on the family ranch, congratulations to you all for that as well. For me, to report a few things about KU, it's national championship time, not in basketball, sadly. But I do want to note that the University of Kansas debate team had members Graham Revere of Shawnee, Kansas, and William Soper of Bucyrus, Kansas, take second place in the country in the 78th annual national debate team.
Wow.
Now, our debaters do like to point out to our basketball players periodically that our debate team has been in 20 Final Four appearances and 8 times have advanced the national championship debate and have won 6 times. Weirdly, about the way debate works in national championships, and I feel bad for our second team. In the Elite 8, 2 KU teams were actually debating each other. So we did have another team that took 5th because they lost out to another KU team. So that's good news for us. Also, in terms of national championships, KU law students for the 4th consecutive year won first place in the National Native American Law Students Association Moot Court Competition. And KU Law was represented there by 30-year law students Jay Kearney and Justin Schock, who won the competition. And also with law for the 2nd year in a row, the KU Law team, for the 2nd year in a row, KU Law team took 2nd at the transactional law competition held at UCLA, and 2nd year law students Violent Rule, Sydney Hoffman and Kathleen Siderchuk, and 3rd-year law student Caden Sears won 2nd place for their work in drafting and negotiating business acquisition agreements. And finally, as it relates to research and economic development. 2 weeks ago, the University of Kansas co-hosted with the Federal Bureau of Investigation its 3rd annual cybersecurity conference. And this conference brought together experts from the region and around the nation in cybersecurity practices. The cybersecurity conference keynote kickoff was from FBI Director Christopher Wray, and then in conversation with Senator Moran, and further led by KU's distinguished professor, who does a fair amount of work at the national level, Perry Alexander, who works in electrical engineering and cyber and computer science. So we have a long history as national leaders in cybersecurity research, development, and training. And it's one reason why the conference has been selected by the FBI to be hosted at KU. So we're very proud of that designation as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, great. And again, a program that recognizes research from across the state. So I believe K-State professor was highlighted there as well. So thanks.
Wonderful. All right, Provost Smith.
I'm going to focus on one area, actually.
Just
That is
one.
it's very similar to some of the other. Can you hear me okay? Okay, it had in-reach activities at Pitt State, and there's quite a few of those. I think sometimes we don't actually realize exactly how many people we bring to campus for various things. And these happen to do with students. These are all student oriented. But in addition, we have summer camps coming up. In addition to athletics and music, which everybody thinks about and typically knows happening. Here are some things. I want to give you the ages of some of these things that we're putting forth out there. One of them has to do family history for everyone, anybody, and basically ages 16 and up. So that's an age group that we're impacting, come back or come to campus. Nature camp, grades 1 through 3. A morning in nursing, ages 8 to 10. Nature day camp, first graders. Adventures in robotics, 1 and 2, 9 to 14. Construct your future, 1 and 2, 9 to 14. Those are some summer camps, but we've also recently had our therapeutic recreation group has put together what they call Terrific Olympics for disability students. And that took place throughout the campus and on our track and those pieces. Well, math relays. We're just, again, going into an academic area with 750 students, 50 high schools on campus. School of Construction Expo, connecting contractors, students, and instructors. Over 100 businesses on campus, multiple hundreds of students served in that capacity. And the last one I just want to mention in this group happens to do with dance. 80 performers, but what's actually really cool with this is the fact that they connected research to this. And in addition to the dance and the creative performance, we had research poster sessions. And that was some of the topics of benefiting dancing in older adults. Some of us would benefit from that. Dancing
Careful.
for foster care. Cognitive benefits of dance, enjoying and using dance for preventative medicine. And lastly, I just want to mention that we have a speaker series on Pitt State campus, and Rainey Wilson was just here. Some of you that watch The Office would be familiar with him. Did a sold out performance, so we had over 1,000 people in there for that. So just a couple of things.
Thank you all so much. This, as you've heard me say, this part of our agenda has become my most appreciated piece of our work together. Someone who questions the value of higher ed only needs to listen to your good news report. So Sam, sometime when you have nothing to do, it would be great to pull all those together in one video that we could put together, year end of our good news report. So thank you all so much. Is there any other business to come before us today? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. Thank you so much. Sorry, it went longer.